They were surrounded, outnumbered nearly 10 to 1, cut off from supplies, water, and even radio contact. Yet for 5 brutal days, a small group of American soldiers held a hill that the Germans were certain they would take. This is one of the most heroic last stands of World War II, and almost no one knows it happened. Welcome to this World War II documentary, where we uncover the forgotten American heroes of Hill 314, men who refused to surrender, even when all hope seemed lost. Their courage didn't just save their lives. It changed the course of an entire battle. August 1944. The Allies had broken out of Normandy, pushing the German army east. Desperate, Hitler ordered a massive counterattack, Operation Luttich. Caught in the center of this assault was the American 30th Infantry Division, and a single platoon sent to the top of Hill 314 to spot enemy movement. What they didn't know was that the German attack would come straight toward them. At dawn, German armor stormed the valley. Panzer tanks rolled forward, supported by waves of infantry and artillery. Within minutes, the Americans on Hill 314 were completely surrounded. Their radios were hit, their water supply was destroyed, and German troops were closing in from every direction. But retreat was not an option. From the rocky slopes of the hill, the Americans dug in, using every inch of terrain for cover. They sniped at advancing Germans, called in artillery using handwritten notes relayed by runners, and held their ground even as enemy forces climbed the hill from blind spots. One private later said, "Every time I fired, another German appeared, and every time one appeared, I knew what I had to do." By the second day, the situation was desperate. The men had no water, some drank dew scraped off rocks. They had no medical supplies. They shared a single bandage between multiple wounded soldiers. Yet despite hunger, exhaustion, and constant shelling, the platoon refused to give up the hill. Every hour they held forced the German attack to slow and crumble. On the third day, a break. American pilots flying P-47 Thunderbolts spotted the hill and realized it was still held by U.S. troops. Immediately, they launched relentless air strikes on the German attackers, clearing pressure from the hill and destroying dozens of enemy vehicles. One pilot said, "If they were still alive up there, we weren't going to let the Germans touch them." But the Germans didn't stop. On the fourth night, they launched one of their fiercest attacks, reaching the American foxholes. Hand-to-hand combat erupted across the hilltop. Grenades exploded at point-blank range. And several times, the Germans broke through, only to be pushed back by soldiers who refused to surrender. On the fifth day, after nearly 120 hours isolated and under fire, American reinforcements punched through German lines. As tanks approached the hill, they expected to find bodies. Instead, the defenders were still alive. Bruised, bloodied, dehydrated, but alive. Of the 30 original men, 22 survived. They had held Hill 314 longer than anyone believed possible. Their stand bought the Allies precious time to stabilize the front and counter the German assault. Military historians now agree. If Hill 314 had fallen, the German counteroffensive could have succeeded, delaying the Allied advance into France. These men didn't just defend a hill, they defended the future. The heroes of Hill 314 fought against impossible odds and helped shape the outcome of World War II. If you enjoyed this World War II documentary, subscribe for more untold stories, heroic last stands, and forgotten battles that defined the war.